Hello, my name is Dr. Kathi McCree. I practice in Webster, Texas. I've been a family physician for over 30 years. And if I have one thing that I'd like to express to you that could help your health, I'd like to have you learn to cook without oil. Oil happens to be a delight. It makes everything taste so good, and it makes us tend to eat more of it, and it's so calorie rich. So which of those is the downside? It is a whole lot like the sugar of the sugar industry, except in the fat world. I would like to suggest that you learn more about it, but my purpose here is just to say that it's possible to learn how to cook without oil, to saute onions, to saute tomatoes, to saute garlic and mushrooms. Oh, mushrooms. And one of the reasons why is for your health. There could be a couple other reasons. I would say learn to love the flavor of the food instead of just the flavor of the frying. But for one thing, this is a skill, a technique that can be learned by anyone. You have to have a pot, and you have to have a heat element, and you have to have a vegetable, but that's about all it takes. I would encourage, I do encourage my patients on a daily basis to reduce their intake of sodium, oil, and sugar. But the oil for my overweight patients, for my heart disease and cancer patients, that's my number one priority for them at that moment, even for my diabetic patients. When you're even contemplating, how do I cook without oil? My first step is always to say, are you really using oil? Do you grab your oil and you pour some in the pan? Oh, usually just a tablespoon or two, and then you put in your vegetables of choice, and then you get them to just the right simmering. If you were to say, I want to wean off of oil, that's possible. I want to go to spray oil, that's possible. If you say, I want to do a water braising instead of the frying, that's very possible, and that's a really good way to not burn things if you have your fire up too hot. But all of these are incremental improvements in your total oil consumption, and maybe in reducing some of the potential carcinogens just that come from the frying process itself. Some of my patients eat only plants, and a whole lot of my patients eat everything. For those patients that cook meat many times by pan frying, I will ask them to go to alternate methods or to use less and less oil as part of their preparation. But if you were to just start off from scratch, your best friend is still going to be YouTube, because you can find at least 3 marvelous options of how do I do this from the beginning. My favorite one to start off with would be onion. And I would put 2 tablespoons of water or vegetable broth in the pan, and I would have it on low, and I would walk away for 5 whole minutes on low and come back and see that the vegetables have started to leave a little bit of their own juice right there in the pan to cook themselves in. And it's a beautiful thing. Then you turn the heat up a little bit so that you can start reducing the juice, and they weep a little bit more, and then you really smell where the onions are coming from, and it's a delight. Why would I recommend this so much? You kind of already know my heart on this. It's because I really do care about the patient's arteries and whether they weigh too much for their knees and a few hundred other things. But as far as the how to do it, anybody can do this. And I would really like, if you have one thing that you'd like to learn how to do that will make a difference in your health, this would be one thing that would matter. There are a couple of progressions that happen in our lifetimes. We progress through usually robust youth, and then our eating habits will catch up with us, and we start to progress to obesity, diabetes, hypertension, maybe malignancies, or fatigue. All those things can be brought on by many, many things that we do to ourselves. We are our own worst enemy at times. But there's also a progression toward health. And that's what I love seeing in my own patients. I love to see them learn and adopt a new thing that will be possible for them to do, that will be something they can repeat again and again, so that it becomes more and more ingrained, it becomes more of them. And they realize they're feeling better, their degenerative processes seem to be going away or much easier to manage, Or my very favorite, we get to stop taking pills. That's a real favorite in my book. So I would urge you, this is a progression that you can make in your own health. And I can't wait to hear how that works for you. So my challenge for you today, go buy some onions. Tonight, look up 1, 2, or 3 videos on how to saute onions without oil. Tonight, cut those onions and put them in the pan and have some fun. Just learning the process will make you a most amazing chef and a little bit healthier every single time. I want to thank you for enjoying this presentation. I also want to encourage you to do just one thing.